What are the two best genres in video game history? Of course, everyone is going to have a dramatically different opinion on this, but as of late, I have been grinding roguelite games. There's something so addictive about jumping in for 10 to 20 minutes, killing a bunch of enemies, and watching your character die over and over and over. Personally, I love these games, but after 7 years of making video games, I have a total of 0 in my roster. Well, secondly, I love skill-based shooters like Overwatch and Smite. So what if I take my love of these action-packed arena shooters and combine them with a classic roguelike adventure? This is the first devlog of my brand new commercial indie game, Mancers of Magic. So what is Mancers of Magic? Well, as a 2D pixel artist, it wouldn't really be possible for me to create some kind of ability-based shooter game, so I recently dove into the world of voxel art. Voxel art is basically pixel art, but you can do it in 3D, which is super cool. I tested around with a few small projects before deciding on what my next big game would be. I finally felt like I got my voxel art abilities to a quality that was acceptable to build out a game in. Hence the start of my journey in developing my first roguelike game. Now, if you guys have ever played any kind of MOBA game or spell-based shooter, you should know how integral creating a cast of characters with unique abilities is. And so I began my journey by creating our first playable character concept, Naro the Necromancer. Naro is known as the Skeleton King, able to raise his loyal skeleton buddies from the dead to fight for him using his own life force. I began with a basic portrait model and then started building out a basic character controller I could use to bring Naro to life. This was my first ever attempt at building out a third-person camera, which definitely needs some work, but honestly, I think it's awesome being able to see my character running around the screen, so for me, this was a huge step in the right direction. I gave the little guy some proper clothing and equipment, and even added a nice outline to create a proper aesthetic for my characters. Taking a step back from character design, I wanted to make my first enemy, which, to be honest, I'm not really sure what this actually is. It kind of looks like if Stitch had a baby with a woodland creature and a Lakitu. Regardless, I think it looks cool, so I threw it in the game with a basic follow script, and done. Our first non-interactive enemy. Throwing on some basic assets I created in Magical Voxel to give some perspective, and adding in some basic attacks and spells, we can now shoot enemies and even spawn baby skeletons. There we go. Haha, guys, we got an army. We have an army. Maybe I'll just make them walk forward and explode on contact. Somebody was talking about FL Studio earlier. Yo, somebody open up FL Studio. All right, this is the music video. Like, these guys are having a good time. You know what I mean? They're so much faster than I thought they were gonna be. Okay, somebody clip it. Somebody get out FL Studio. Let's go. Where's the mixtape? Oh, we even got the rave. We got the particles for the rave. It's going. This is the real reason that I did game dev. This is why. Yeah, I don't get a lot of useful stuff done on the Friday streams, but back to reality. This is our character's current ability rundown. We've got a basic Magic Blast primary attack, a skeleton spawning secondary, a spell to explode all existing skeletons you've spawned on the map, and an ability to overdrive all skeletons to buff them for a short duration. Of course, we need an ultimate ability, so now Naro can spawn an extremely powerful boss-type skeleton to lead his troops into battle. I wanted this character to feel very different from any other design, so I played into the Necromancer class exclusively and made it so he will regenerate health based on damage dealt, but all skeleton-related spells will take some of the character's life force to cast. This ended up feeling great for the character's themology, but before I show off all of the character's abilities in action, it's time to switch course and focus on the second most important aspect of these action roguelike type games. Level design. So based on the few assets I created in my test scene, I got inspired to create the first zone in the game, which would be some kind of forest or jungle map. I got to work recreating some of the assets and building out new ones, and then decided that a cool theme for this jungle map could be a jungle covered in magical crystals to act as a border to enclose the island. After building out the crystals and adding them around the map for a border, I had something that felt very expansive, but still boxed in to feel like an arena. After building out some more assets for the game, I decided to go on stream and get you guys to help develop the map with me. Is it just gone? Is the code gone? Or am I actually going crazy? Am I losing my brain right now? Am I losing my mind? There is no mushroom code. What the hell? Maybe I did it in the wrong Godot project. Maybe? Oh my god, there we go. Okay, he's flying. He's flying high, yo. He's flying real high. That's a powerful mushroom. Okay, there we go. We figured out collisions. Here is the finished look of the map, along with some actual gameplay after just 2 weeks of developing my fun and cutesy roguelike shooter. Alright, so here is some actual gameplay of the finished map. We have our character, and if I shoot my primary or my left click, I can shoot out these magical blasts, which are going to deal damage to opponents. And then if we find a target, we can spawn skeletons on the floor, and they're going to run up to their nearest target and attack them. Then, of course, we have the explosion, so I can explode the skeletons to deal extra damage. And the next ability, before we show off the ultimate, is going to be the attack speed steroids. So if I press E, they're going to light up, and they're going to run way faster and attack extremely quickly and destroy whoever is nearby. The ultimate ability is going to spawn the boss skeleton, so I'm going to spawn him, and he's going to deal a ton of damage and basically act as our leader when it comes to controlling our skeleton army. Anyway, I decided I wanted to create a Steam page for the game before getting out the first devlog, so please, if you wouldn't mind checking out the first link in the description, make sure to drop a wishlist for Mancers of Magic, which will tremendously help the overall success of the game's performance. I really hope you're excited to see where this game goes over the next couple months before I release it later this year. I'm trying to hit 70,000 subscribers, so make sure to subscribe to stay up to date with my content and help support our road to 70K. That's it for Devlog 1, but I'll be back in 2 weeks to show off more new and exciting content just like this.